One. Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me in the co-host seat is our good friend, Mr. Darren Starling.
Hello.
Angela will be joining us later on. She is at a family dinner, and due to bad weather out in Massachusetts, things have been running longer than expected. So she's hoping to join us before the end of the show. Not sure exactly when, but we're going to be excited to have her joining us when she can. We want to remind everybody that Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media. For the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books, be sure to check out homecirclemedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you tonight by Casey Fox. For all of your artwork, cosplay, and commission needs, be sure to check out Casey Fox. That's KAYCIFOXX on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Again, welcome to Anime-Zing Radio. Tonight, we are looking back at the year of 2022. The anime, the shows, just how crazy this year has been for all of us here as a part of Anime-Zing Radio. And I, once again, want to thank Darren for being along for the ride for another year. You've been with us for a few years now, and you have been a big asset to the show.
Thank you for the recognition. It does not go unappreciated, believe me.
And this year has been quite the craziness. And I know looking back at when we first started the year, we were excited about what 2022 had to offer. You know, we were talking about this before we went live, that I said 2021 anime season looked like it was going to be really good. And it didn't disappoint. 2022, I said, felt like it was going to be better than 21. And if I have to be honest, I think it was better than 2021. We had a lot of fantastic shows that came out, a lot of long-awaited sequels, and even some new shows that came out, caught fire, and some new contrast to some old stories even.
Agreed.
So we're going to take the next couple of hours and look back at the animes that came out this year and talk about a lot of the shows, because we've had a lot of amazing shows. We went on a Genshin Impact kick with voice actors for a bit there. We had Idol Group join us last week, so big thank you to Kira Meku Melody, who joined us last week. We had a lot of fun chatting with them. If you've listened to us on the podcasting apps, that show should be going up tomorrow, December 12th. So, just to give a heads up, that is supposed to be getting uploaded tomorrow, Angela said. So, but this year I want to take my trusty notebook here and scroll back to the beginning of the year for guests, because Lord knows we've had quite the interesting year. And we started the year off with Lainey Maloney, a very talented cosplayer that I met at Saratoga Comic-Con. And that show had kind of a hiccup in the middle of it where I needed to leave and pick up my wife, which left you and our guest talking for a little
bit. To be honest, I'd totally forgotten about that, because the only other time that it happened was with Morgan.
Yep. So as the co-host who got put on the spot, what was it like for you to sit there and try to come up with the questions and hold a fun conversation, not just with the guest, but you guys, we have the camera functions now and everything. And hello, Ross. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Hello to everybody who's tuning in. Thank you so much.
It still felt weird considering I'm the only one without a camera for various reasons.
We'll get that. We'll figure out how to correct that at some point.
Well, not to say, once I finally get a setup that I'm happy with, because unfortunately, when I bought my computer, Asus was in the middle of a little privacy thing, and they said that webcams didn't come standard anymore because they believed it breached the privacy of their users. So they started selling webcams separately again. So I have not had a chance to either get one and mount it or basically get my desktop set up where I can get a camera. But one day.
One day. Once things start going smoother with the business and your equipment stops breaking down on you.
Between that and also maybe hiring somebody to do some of the work for me.
Hey, good evening, John and Mario. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you if you're listening to us on one of the podcasting platforms. We really do appreciate the love and support that we've been seeing, the growth that we've been seeing on the podcasting sites. And we've got listeners all over the world, which blows my mind. And really, we thank everybody who tunes in from the bottom of our heart for taking the time to listen to us chat about randomness for a couple hours.
Oh, God. Damn it. Oh, hold on a sec. I got starting fluid in my eye.
Oh, geez. Darren's got a project he's working on right now. Speaking of stuff breaking down, and he's trying to do some mechanics at the same time as doing the show. But the Lady Maloney show was fun, and it was a new cosplayer. She had a lot of fun on the show. I talked with her a little bit afterwards, and we saw a lot of growth in 2022. Don't worry about it, Mario. Mario says, sorry for missing out on 2 episodes. Life kind of got in the way. Life happens. We can't stop that. I know how it goes. Thanksgiving, the Sunday after Thanksgiving, we didn't even do a show because of traveling back from Massachusetts. So I can totally understand, all of it, not being able to make every show, but the people who do tune in, we really do appreciate it. We then had our Pokemon special, which this year had some irony. We did a Pokemon special where our Pokemon expert, Darren, was sick and had to miss the show. And
we'll hold another one eventually, but I won't be as much of an expert anymore due to all the content Pokemon has put out this year. With a combination of new games and also new anime content, I am way behind.
And way behind, huh?
Yeah, because I didn't watch the entirety of Sun and Moon because I was so disappointed with how they changed the art. And then because I don't own a Switch, I didn't play any of the new games either.
Understandable.
So I am probably my knowledge of Pokemon stopped. My knowledge of Pokemon stopped after X and Y. No, Sun and Moon. In terms of the game.
Yeah.
For the anime, X and Y.
We then went into a show in January about how do we choose which animes we watch. We broke down, what are some of the factors that interests us into watching specific shows over others and things of that nature. Then we had a run of 3 shows in a row where we had guests. We had artist Rusty Gilligan, which, if I remember correctly, I think that was going to be Angela's first show.
I thought we had the Pokemon episode when.
Oh, Angela! Yeah, that's right. Angela was there.
Angela was on for the Pokemon episode because y'all gave me crap about it, and then later on in the year, well, we'll get to that when we get to it.
Yeah, and then in February it was Angela's turn to miss out on a show. But we had Rusty Gilligan, and then followed that with Jason Moulton, a friend of ours, who's going to be hosting a horror convention down in South Carolina. You're not too far from your neck of the woods, I believe, Darren.
Yep.
And then we had Sean Hainsworth join us on February 7th. That was a special Monday show. And then February 17th, we did a comparing different conventions. That's when Angela had a migraine and was unable to join us, where she was the gaming expert for conventions. Cons like PAX East, PAX Unplugged, stuff of that nature, where Darren and I were more anime and for me especially it was more anime and Comic-Con related.
Mm-hmm.
Now we had Brianna Roberts on the 20th. Then we had a special Saturday show with Ben Ackley from Ackley Attack TV. He is a talented cosplayer as well. Actually met him in Syracuse earlier this year. Then we had Danny Chambers joined us, Aaron Campbell. That was really the start. Brianna Roberts, Danny Chambers, Aaron Campbell, 3 voice actors in 4 weeks, which was a fun stretch. Danny is always fun to talk to. It was the first time that we talked with Aaron. And then got to meet. I had the honor of meeting Aaron Campbell at FujiCon later on in the year, and so I had a lot of fun with that. Had Jalili on the show. We did a cosplayer roundtable back in March. Some of these shows I'm sure you remember, Darren. Some of them I think you fell asleep early because of your hectic work schedule.
Well, I hope I didn't fall asleep during the ones before the season really kicked in. I don't remember.
Our big show of the year came on March 29th when we welcomed Bang Zoom Entertainment. For the second time, we had the owner, Eric Sherman, and casting director, Mami Okada, join us. And it was so much fun to get to talk with them again. It had been quite a few years since we had last had them on the show. And it was neat to get their perspective of how the pandemic had changed and affected the industry of voice acting. And not just in anime, but video games and commercials and all aspects of it. That's been a big topic for a lot of what we've looked into for stuff, especially with the voice acting guests this year.
Yes, how much has the past 2 years really affected your line of work?
And then we had our 8-year anniversary show on April 3rd, which was a lot of fun as well. We had Anthony Bowling popped in for about 30 minutes, which was great to chat with him. And we had Lindsay Shepard join us for the show as well. Always fun to chat with Lindsay. And of course, as anybody knows, we love Anthony Bowling. Amazing, talented director and voice actor. And we've been hoping to get him back on the show, but scheduling has been crazy, especially where things are back in full swing for anime and with episodes coming out every week nonstop. It's going to be a grind for a while, I'm sure, for a lot of the voice actors. So we may have a tougher time getting voice actors to join us here in 2023 but we're going to continue to try to work with them, adjust our shows and schedules accordingly with theirs, much like we did this year, having to start a show at 7 instead of 8 to accommodate a voice actor, which that turned out to be a really fun show because we also had our first VTuber join us, and they actually had their VTuber image on the show. So we'll get into that later on. And John Knight brings up a good point, saying today is Lisa Ortiz's birthday. The voice of Chopper in One Piece, Lena in Slayers, Amy in the Sonic franchise, Ash's Ocelot in Pokemon franchise, and Vernon in My Hero Academia. So happy birthday to Lisa Ortiz.
That Ocelot was so annoying.
So you know the Ocelot.
Oh, Lord. That thing was constantly getting into romantic quarrels. Like, he literally fell for every Pokemon he saw that he thought was attractive, including him and Meowth from Team Rocket, falling for, I think it was a Purloin, which is one of the cat Pokemon, but it was a male. So yes, Meowth and Ocelot fell for traps.
I think we know a lot of people who have fallen for traps.
Yeah.
Look back at our past smash or trash videos, and you'll find people who have fallen for traps, including my friend Jeremy and one of our listeners who joined us for one of them. So lots of fun stuff that's been going on this year. Um, of course, you know, we did a lot of new stuff with Anime-Zing Radio. HH, you're not wrong. HH says, well, James enjoys a little role playing as a trap. It's not uncommon. He has dressed as a trap a few times. But 2022 saw us go really pushing the podcast harder than I ever have before. Before the pandemic, most of the cons we went to was pushing Casey Fox, helping at their table and things of that nature, with some press coverage with AZR, getting photographs, handing out business cards. This year, I put all my focus into tabling at conventions for Anime-Zing Radio, getting new table runner, getting a banner set up, new business cards. And we even went as far as to sponsor 3 conventions this year. Couldn't sponsor them financially, but with a lot of really cool giveaways, including giveaways to attendees who joined us for voice actor interviews as guest co-hosts, and even the overall winners joining us as featured guests on the show from the cosplay contests. So, we're hoping to continue that trend going into 2023. Some really cool stuff in the works. You definitely want to stay tuned, keeping an eye on our Facebook page and everything as 2023 gets closer and the con season starts back up again. For us, it starts in February. Darren, we don't know. Whenever we can get Darren to unlock himself from working. And but we sponsored Poochie Cons, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey Cons this year, and it was a really cool experience at both events. First time that we had been to a convention in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, to be honest. Working with Jen from Poochie Con, we had a lot of fun. The staff was fantastic. The staff alone is why I want to go back to Poochie Con. Much the same for Rail City Fan Fest. We were treated so well by both events. Rail City especially, they focused heavily on making sure that the vendors were taken care of, needs were met, anything they could do to help make loading and unloading easier. And they even provided lunches for the vendors, which you don't see at a lot of cons, or at least not the cons I've gone to. So that was something that really impressed me as well. So we're looking forward to working with Rail City again this year, as well as PucciCon. For the first time in many years of trying, we got the honor of being press at Anime Boston. And I'll tell you right now, that was probably one of the craziest but enjoyable experiences for me for covering a con as press. There was a lot of different challenges that came up as press with Anime Boston, including press conferences changing, guest cancellation, a guest addition last minute addition to the press conferences. So it was a lot of fun trying to figure out everything, and that was one of the first real times that Angela had joined us as a part of AZR on the press side of things. And yes, as Ross says, don't forget the best thing about this show this year was that I broke the stream. Good. Yeah, I don't remember exactly the context of that, Ross, but Ross had us laughing hysterically on one of the shows. I don't remember which one it was, but he did break the show once. I know earlier this year we had made it to Northeast Comic Con where I was able to hang out a little bit with HH, which was a great time and always fun seeing you guys out there. Um, you know, really was a good time to because HH and I have known each other for years. I didn't realize who HH was until like I kind of knew, but until we actually saw in person, it was like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in forever. How have you been? How's your brother doing? We've known each other since I want to say the 90s, 1990s. I'm old. Oh, and
Of course.
Ross is saying that he broke us with Anna's love nectar from Shimonetta.
Because that was just peak anime, non-hentai yet hentai.
Yeah, that was one of the Smash or Trash episodes.
I think I said pass on her because she's too psychotic. Like, I love a yandere, but not that one.
That was another addition. That was another fun part that we added to the show with the addition of adding the video to Anime-Zing Radio. Um, Partway through 2021, we really had a chance to expand and play around with ideas in 22 and figure out, now that we've added the video aspect, how do we incorporate exclusive YouTube content? We've done some specials midweek, which incorporated games where we would have, one person would put up a picture of a character and we would have to decide whether or not we would smash, trash, or cuddle. Because there are those characters that you wouldn't want to get with, but you wouldn't want to totally destroy either.
And then, of course, you had the one-offs where you didn't want to smash them, you didn't want to trash them, you didn't really want to cuddle them, you just wanted to protect them.
That would come up every now and then.
But that's not an option.
Yeah. And of course, and Nico XXX says yanderes can be a 50-50 for me, unlike sundares, which are a 75-25.
I tend to lean tsundere more than yandere, but I mean, let's be honest. Probably the two most famous yanderes are Yuno and Kurumi, even though Kurumi isn't fully committed to Shido.
Nah, but she is fully committed to psychotic.
Well, I take that back. It depends on which Kurumi we're talking about, because there's one that was totally committed to Shido, and then some.
Yep. And Ross says, well, Anna was still kind and smart. She got addicted to love being pent up after kissing her true love crush.
I don't think he was exactly her. Well, about to say, she was the eye of his affection, but not the other way around. She just got horny.
That kind of puts it bluntly.
That's why I like the other one. Even though she came off as a pervert, she was still more reserved when it came to the actual.
Oh, he's saying no, he had a crush on her, so we understood what Ross said wrong.
Oh, I thought we were talking about our main characters, not he himself and him.
Ah.
Still sad that the I think was it the English voice actress that passed away for her, or was it the Japanese? I think it was the English.
I don't remember. I'll have to look that up. Uh, I mean, it had to have been the Japanese voice actress for Anna
I couldn't remember.
because Monica Rial is still around.
Yeah.
We've seen the loss of a lot of voice actors this year.
Well,
Japanese voice actress for Anna was Miyu Matsuki.
and she was young though, wasn't she?
I think so. I'm not
But
100% sure.
wasn't she like in her 40s, 30s, or 40s?
Yeah, she was born in 1977. So
So
she
she
was
would have
only
been 40.
really a year older than me.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah, she died in 2015.
Yeah, I knew. I couldn't remember what year it was. So yeah, she was young. She was only 30, 38 at the time.
Yeah.
Can't believe it's been that long. It doesn't feel like it's been that long. Actually, for a lot of these anime, it's hard to believe it's been that long since they came out.
I know. So, and Ross says she was 37.
Thank you, Ross.
And Mario says that it was a Japanese voice actress, which we just looked up. And Mario's asking, Darren, are you up to date with Data Live?
No, not at all. Unfortunately, I kind of slept on season 4 and Data Bullet. So the answer to that, Ross, is no. Do I
I
know
kind
more? Do I know more than I should about certain things for diving in the wiki? Yes.
of, and I kind of, and I hate to say this because the show was so good, but season 4, I tried watching it in Japanese and it did not grab me the way that previous seasons did. So I figured maybe it's because I got too used to the English voice acting. So I waited till they started dubbing it and went back and started rewatching it in English. And the stories did not grab me and suck me in like the first three seasons did. And that's nothing against any of the voice acting cast or directing or anything like that. I think it's just the storyline did not, either my views in anime have changed and my tastes have changed and I'm starting to veer off away from shows like that, or it just didn't suck me in the way that others have.
No idea. Me personally, it was just one. I can't remember if it was just a busy season or me myself. I was super busy because there's several sequels to shows I love that I'm behind on. I'm behind on Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon. I'm behind on that. I'm behind on. I didn't watch season 2 of Zombieland Saga. I didn't watch season 2 of Classroom with the Elite. I didn't watch season 2 of Science Fell in Love, so I tried to prove it. There were several sequels I was looking forward to this year and just did not watch for whatever reason.
And same
And
here.
and a couple of cuckoos I was supposed to start and forgot about. Now, did you ever finish that one, Doug, or did you stop somewhere halfway through it?
Couple of cuckoos.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Because I feel like you said you left off at like episode 6 or 7, and that was the last I heard about it.
then I might have stopped watching it and kind of went on to other things. I do know that this year has been, as I mentioned before, this year has been quite uh, amazing when it comes to the animes that have come out. And I remember back in the winter 2022 season for anime, that I made a very bold statement. And I think as we sit here and we're coming to the end of the fall 2022 anime season, I think it still holds true, in my opinion, based on all of the shows that I've watched. I still want to say Marin is best girl of 2022. I know it was a bold statement to make back at the beginning of the year, and it was only like 3 or 4 episodes into My Dress Up Darling that I made that statement. And there's been a lot of strong contenders. But when you look at the whole package, I still think Marin is best girl. She may not be number one waifu, but she is best girl. And I don't know if you agree with me on that, Darren, or not, but I know we have a lot of similar tastes in anime, and you vary off to some shows that I don't watch, and vice versa.
In terms of quality content, not so much waifu material. Well, maybe she's more closer to waifu material because I'm closer to her age. But Marin is definitely best girl of the year for me as well. Um, both leaning toward the waifu category, but definitely in terms of character, at least the one person I would love to hang out with the most.
Oh, definitely, hands down. She and Ross says that Lotte is best girl from Pharmacy in Another World. Russ, I know you love that character. There's nothing wrong with that. She is a fun character, but you don't, in my opinion, you don't see enough of her in the show to make a valid comparison to Marin, who is a main character.
Well, I can't say anything. I've fallen for several side characters. I mean, heck, my favorite was a side character up until the second half of the season she was introduced.
Yeah, I mean, you like Kurumi? She's kind of a side character.
True. I mean, she was introduced in season one, but she's a recurring character
Yeah,
that takes the main spotlight at times. Same thing with a lot of these others. But
and the only reason that and Mario's asking, can we put Rich from Banished from the Heroes Party in there? She was an interesting one.
about to say I liked her, but Marin is still superior to her. As much as I love the romance blossom between the two and how cute she was, Marin still got her beat.
And Spy Family came along, and everybody, and Yor was the big thing. Yor is the waifu who is a waifu. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking of which, you said you're still behind on that, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
So you haven't met Nightfall yet.
I don't think so.
White hair?
I don't believe so. It's because life, the universe, and everything going on has been absolutely nuts. I have gotten behind the shows that I watch with my wife. We are behind on for one reason or another, whether it be work schedules. She had a project she was working on that was due this week coming up, and she just got it finished, and we got it mailed off yesterday. And but hopefully after the holidays we'll be able to take time and actually watch some stuff. And we
Oh
saw a lot.
wow, we're farther ahead than Mario.
That doesn't happen very often. But mentioned that he's had a lot of stuff going on in his life that has kept him busy, which we all know how that can happen and how easy it is to fall behind on things or have other things take top priority, especially as you get older. In my case, having a family, there are many times where I have to focus on the well-being of the family. Ross says now on best male character of 2022, I say Pharma best dude. He deleted a freaking ocean. Let's see Ainz or any male protagonist beat that.
Um, well, never mind. He's not exactly male, but he's not exactly female either.
Rimuru?
Mm-hmm. He could basically delete an entire continent if he wanted.
Yeah. I think we're starting to see more shows like that.
Well, you got the overpowered reincarnation, and then you got ones that are reincarnated into what now? Let's see. We have an innate, we have a sword, we have a vending machine, we have an apple. What's next?
Ended up getting reincarnated into interspecies reviewers.
You wish.
You wish.
No, 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 I don't.
You just want to go after the bunnies.
You know, I'm trying to remember who my favorite group from interspecies even was.
HH says reincarnated as a dumpster fire. I think we've seen a lot of those shows. Conception? Mara says that if I ended up in interspecies reviewers, I would never leave.
Ross, give it time. You'll see Rimuru later on. I mean, I'm kind of judging based off of his abilities as described via the source material, but he is way more powerful than what you may think.
We also want to thank everybody who tuned in Wednesday. We did a 1 hour special of just talking randomness, which led to stories from the Trash Taste podcast boys who toured the U.S. to talking about finding a list of the best dragon girls in anime, which some of which we questioned.
Mm-hmm. But go ahead.
I was gonna say I still don't agree with Toru from Dragon Maid being number one. I think there are a lot better dragons than her.
Yeah. How come Ophis didn't make the list?
And in the Killing Slimes for 300 years, there's 2 dragon girls in that. Why did only one make the list?
Yeah, the ice one was adorable.
I like the fact she kept her tail in human form. Granted, she was a bit of a streaker.
Ross, that was prior to him becoming a demon lord. Just saying.
Mario says, give it time. You'll want Rimuru to step on you.
Well,
Lady to mistress style.
He's not wrong. Well, I will say this. There's another show that is getting a new season here soon, rightfully so, that is eventually going to produce waifu characters. And I know Casey's watched this one. I know you haven't. and that's Jobless Reincarnation. If I'm not mistaken, that aired winter this year.
That I'm looking through right now. Was that this year or was that last year?
Or was it season? Or was it the second core continued into the season? I don't remember.
I think the second core came out this season. I think that was a 2021 anime to start. Because I'm looking through the my anime lists rundown of shows as to when they were released. Was season 2 for that summer? I think it might have been one in the.
Yes, Mario. Jobless Reincarnation was 2 core. It was split core, not split season.
So that might have been one that started in 2021 and rolled into 2022
I
without
think it.
really getting a 2022 credit.
I think it was.
Yes, it part 2 started in fall of 21. So that was a split core that started in late 2021 and rolled into 2022.
That makes more sense. But oh yeah, the other waifu you forgot to talk about, Doug.
And that is
Nazuna.
Nazuna. Nazuna with Call of the Night. That show was just. I think one of the reasons I enjoyed that show so much is because it was different. It kind of had a different feel to it. The storyline was a bit different. It didn't feel like your typical vampire anime. You know, the the art style for that show was amazing, and
The
absolutely
music.
love the art. It made the nightlife enticing to people the way that they created it. If I'm saying that right, I think you know what I'm trying to say, Darren.
Of course, it made it more appealing.
It made it so that you wanted to sneak out in the middle of the night just to try to experience the nightlife and see if you have as good of a time as Ko did.
The only problem is that only showed the good side of the night, not the dangerous side.
Yeah, but we all know there's a bad side of the night. But seeing an adolescent 14-year-old who doesn't understand himself, let alone the concepts of love and everything else, decide he wants to try to figure out what love is so he can fall in love with a vampire so he can turn into a vampire. And said vampire says you can only turn into a vampire if you fall in love with that vampire and allow them to suck your blood. The thing is, she'll make pervy jokes all day long, but if you talk romance, she gets flustered, embarrassed, and kind of detaches herself
Adorable.
from everybody. So you have this big bad vampire who turns absolutely adorable, cute, and shy if you mention romance.
Or if you try to mess with her prey, food, whatever, she'll kick your ass.
Or rip your arm off.
Pretty much.
And it was a good storyline. I know it wasn't for everybody. Angela tried watching it, agreed with us that the art style is amazing and the soundtrack is fantastic. But the storyline didn't grab her. Very understandable. Kind of like I gave a lot of time to Demon Slayer, couldn't get into it. Watched 6 episodes. It didn't hook me in 6 episodes. So I wasn't going to continue it. Call of the Night better get a season 2 based on how they ended season 1. That's all I'm saying.
Mm. Oh, I almost forgot. You were talking about a list of Dragon Girls earlier, and I forgot to mention it. Did you watch Gigak's video on IGN's picks for the top 25 anime?
I have not seen that yet. I might watch that after the show tonight.
Let me just put it to you this way: the whole list, except for like a couple, were cringe.
Well, it
Like,
is a Gigik video.
well, it is IGN and not.
It could be an interesting watch, that's for sure. In fact, I've seen a few of the YouTubers that I enjoy put out videos recently that could be interesting watches, including a couple from abroad in Japan.
Hmm.
But, looking back on 2022, and like we said, hopefully Angela will be able to join us later on and give her takes on how the year went for her, because this was her first time being a part of the team, first year really being a part of AZR, and so she has a whole new perspective of what the year was like for her. And it'll be interesting to hear what she enjoyed, some of her highlights of 2022. And what were some of your highlights from shows from this year, Darren?
Well, the Smash or Trash ones, those were a lot of fun. Let's see. Last week was fun. Interviewing an idol group and being able to converse with about a genre of anime that I'm not really familiar with and get their take on a couple of the differences between some of the anime I've heard to watch versus ones I should actually watch. Let's see. Trying to remember what other shows we did. Oh yeah, it was interesting having Mario and Godswill on at the same time, considering their backgrounds in the industry.
Yep. And Ross in the chat says, now I'm not sure, but I think I'm the only one here who watched RPG Real Estate. No, I watched it and enjoyed it.
I didn't watch it, so
It was a fun show to watch.
what
Again,
season was
another
that?
somewhat decent. That was one of those ones that basically flew under the radar. I want to say it was summer 22. Let's click on the tab here. I know I have to scroll down quite a bit. Was that summer or? No, that had to have been spring. And I know I had seen it recently. I was scrolling through here. Yeah, it was spring, and it was way down on my anime list. In fact, it only got a rating of 6.73 out of 37,000 votes.
Hmm.
But I still thought it was a good show. But it also was out in a season competing with the likes of some of the top shows, Kaguya-sama Love is War,
Which
Rising of the
broke
Shield Hero 2, Spy Family, Shikamori's Not Just a Cutie,
Tommy.
Komi-san, Season 2. So there was a lot of big hitters that were out. Couple of Cuckoos, Date Alive Season 4. So there was a lot of shows that it was going up against. So it's not surprising it fell under the radar. I mean, there were a lot of really good shows this year that I feel didn't get the love that they deserved.
Well,
Even back in the winter season.
I'll say this: it was probably one of my favorite moments of 2022 was when Kaguya broke my anime list and replacing Full Metal Alchemist as the top-rated anime of all time because of that final episode. And actually managed to sustain that for a hot minute.
Yeah. And Ross said that he enjoyed the show. He asked because he wasn't sure if he was the only one who felt sad when Kotone, the pink-haired girl, died in the show. It was surprising. That was definitely an interesting twist to it. It did hit the feels a little bit. I don't think I cried, but it definitely hit you in the feels. Like, oh no, she's gonna be okay, right? She's the main character. She has to come back. But at the same point in time, I kind of like twists like that in a weird, sadistic way. Maybe that's the inner Darren coming out.
Speaking, let's see. Oh, I almost forgot about that one.
What's that?
Your boy Kong Ming. I forgot that one also took over the internet scene for a while.
Yeah, I never actually watched that. I will say 2022, we welcomed a lot of new voice actors to the show. We had a lot of first-time guests, including Aaron Campbell, who joined us for the first time, Christy Rothrock, who joined us for the first time. We had a lot of fun chatting with her. And then we, as I mentioned, we had the Genshin Impact quad of voice actors that joined us, which started with Josie McCoy, who we met at PucciCon. I handed him a business card. He then reached out to me about coming on the show. Had an amazing time talking with him. He was so much fun to chat with. Really looking forward to seeing him in more and more stuff. Hopefully he branches out into anime and stuff more, not just the video game side of things. Also from the Genshin side of things, we had Griffin Burns, who joined us, Sean Chiplock, and Kelly Baskin. Also first-time voice actor and guests on the show. So really, it was so much fun to talk to these people and get to learn more about them. Sean Chiplock especially, because he's been around the anime world for quite a bit. And a lot of us know him as Subaru from ReZero, the poor bastard who dies a million times.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, is Subaru got it bad, or do you think Kazuya has it worse with having to deal with Aqua? Kazuma.
Great question. Well, he doesn't have to deal with just Aqua, but I mean that's a challenge in itself.
It's like, would you rather deal with Aqua, or would you rather die and like restart over a million times?
Don't forget, at least with Aqua, if he dies, she's the only one that can resurrect him.
But that's about all she's good for. That and water tricks.
Mm-hmm.
But then you'd have to pay her alcohol bill.
Mm-hmm. But I don't understand how she gets drunk if everything she touches turns pure water.
Anime logic. Just anime being anime. That's like the question. That's like the answer to any anime question. Why does this have anime logic?
Because it's anime, and only in anime will it ever make sense.
Pretty much. And so we had a lot of fun bringing on a bunch of different voice actors. Like I said, Genshin Impact was a big thing. We had a lot of Genshin voice actors. I did get a little bit of crap from people about why so much Genshin, especially when I don't play it, but it's the popular thing and it was everywhere. Every convention out that we were going to had at least 2 to 3 Genshin voice actors. So it was like, with that being the popular thing, let's bring them on and find out more about it and have a chance to talk with some amazingly talented people. And, really, we've been very lucky, Darren, on the show here. I'm sure you can agree. We have been blessed with amazing guests week in and week out.
Indeed.
And, the fans, all of you who watch us live on the Sunday night shows, those of you who listen in after the fact, if you're listening to us now on one of the podcast sites, we've got amazing fans. Those who join us live have some of the most amazing knowledge of anime. If we get stumped, they're right there with answers. Ross, you're not wrong. Sean Chiplock was good because he definitely helped, not just you, helped, I think, a lot of us understand how the struggle for money in the voice actor world is, how real it is. I think a lot of people don't, we don't fully understand the business aspect of the voice acting world. There's a whole side of that we never really get to see. And Sean did an amazing job and went into great detail, a lot more so than we expected. And
Yeah.
I'm sure during the episode you can see my face and Angela's face kind of in shock as he's going through and giving you the real numbers. This is what the cost of living is. He even went as far to talk about how much he pays for mortgage, how much cost of living in California is compared to some other areas, how much, union workers get paid an hour as opposed to non-union workers, and what a lot of the legalities and the reason for some of the turmoil that's been happening in that world is. And, really, we can't thank him enough for wanting to volunteer that information. It was not anything that we didn't talk about ahead of time. And distracted by HH comment, referring to her question about dealing with Aqua, said, well, he can choose not to deal with Aqua, and Aqua did offer to help him with his nightly ritual. So that got me thrown off a little bit. Would you want Aqua to help you with a nightly ritual, Darren?
Probably not,
Or
because
would you rather
I don't trust
share
her
your
to know.
explosion with Megamine?
Megamine, I'm sorry, is the best girl of the series. Yes, I like Union, but Megamine is my favorite girl from Konosuba series. And besides, remind me, did you see the movie?
Yes.
I
Where
have to
where
say,
they where they basically were like locked in the same room together. Her parents wanted them to sleep together and da 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 da.
yes,
Yeah.
they got close, but of course, the general, demon general, had to go ruin it.
Yeah. But getting back on track with Sean Chiplock, it was I think that was probably one of my top highlights of the year, was him basically putting in layman's terms, this is what the industry is. This is why people are fighting. We want to, companies are making huge money on these projects and paying voice actors a flat rate, a flat one-time rate. So whether a project bombs or is successful, the voice actors only make X amount, even if their work grosses the parent company exponential amount. There is no residual income in the contracts that the voice actors sign because there doesn't have to be, and they want to see that change, which you can understand both sides of it. If I had to choose a side, I would kind of pick the side of the voice actors because they're the ones that are doing this work to make a living, and as we all know, everything is going up in price. It is ridiculously over. It's really ridiculous how expensive everything is, from gas to food to rent to utilities to just living day to day. I know earlier this week, Darren, I had sent you a picture of how much gas is in northern New York, or diesel prices were.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And and you're like, thank God I don't live there.
Yep. Because here it's quite a bit cheaper. And that's saying something.
Yeah. But, that's enough of that subject. But that was one of my favorite shows of the year. Of course, having big company on like Bang Zoom was also fantastic. But I loved bringing on some of the, uh, not just the voice actors, but the people who got to win the chance to talk with voice actors. Like Rick from Nerd Urbanity, who joined us for the Josie McCoy show. That was a lot of fun because Rick was really cool. And he had a lot of good questions and knowledge too.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had that Darren guy who fell asleep most of the
Yep. Shame on that guy.
time. But that's part of the fun of picking on each other.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you should reduce my pay, Doug. Give me a demotion. Give me a demotion to background character.
Well, first you got to get screen time before you can have that happen. Right now, you kind of are the background character with no screen time.
So call me the Eminence in Shadow.
We'll just call you the conical figure that you like to put on every now and then. Or we could have you be the Nico. Nico, Nico, Ni.
Nico, Nico, no.
At some point, I have to go through the video, the audio footage from way back when and see if we can actually find that.
Buena suerte, señor.
And of course, recently I realized that I could put some sound bites up. So we are going to take a moment to throw it back old school to early Anime-Zing radio days from the Hazy Radio Network. And let's play. I don't want this to loop. Let's play this promo.
Hello, this is Ciel Phantom Hive, and you're listening to Anime-Zing Radio. I hope you like it.
Well, people, are you liking it?
And I think people are. I think we work hard to try to put on a good show, even though nothing is scripted. I'm sure it shows that none of this stuff is scripted because we all get sidetracked, especially me, really bad on this show.
I thought it was me.
Well, when you have Ross throwing us off of our game too.
Yeah, Mario too.
Mario is fun though. I have fun when we can bring the fans in. And as far as your question, Darren, are you enjoying it? Mario says, I mean, yes, otherwise I wouldn't be here.
True. Speaking of which, one of the radio stations I listen to, let's see. If oh yeah, they go. If you're not listening to us, then you're not hearing this anyway. So bite me.
That's funny. I do feel a little bit bad. Speaking of radio, I do have the radio app for the channel that Christy Rothrock works for, but due to the fact that it's holiday time and they have that fun little Whamageddon that goes on that starts December 1st, November 29th, I heard their channel play that song, Last Christmas by Wham, where it hadn't officially begun, Whamageddon. I realized I cannot listen to this channel again until December 26th.
Mm.
So I'm sorry, Christy, if you're watching this and wondering why I haven't been sending you messages with random comments based on the show. It's because I don't want to lose Whamageddon this year.
Speaking of Wham and whammies, we haven't talked on Devira yet, have we?
We have not. Big Bucks Entertainment celebrated their 10-year anniversary earlier this year. We had our good friend Devira Kai on the show talking about that. And, it was a lot of fun chatting with him. Sadly, I haven't actually had a chance to see him at conventions this year because, Anime Boston is huge, and some of the other cons that he went to, I just, was either too busy or did not attend. So I really did not have a chance to hang out with him in person, but hoping that 2023 isn't totally nuts. Back in January, I had set a couple of goals that I wanted to hit with the radio show of at least 10 conventions and 5 conventions with a table for Anime-Zing Radio. Personally, I attended 13. I know Angela attended at least 2 conventions that I did not attend. Darren was unable to attend any conventions this year, so.
Yeah, sorry. We'll see what we can do next year. Depends on the conventions and also depends on if I actually decide to hire any help.
A, you need to leave your day job. B, you need to get some help so that you don't kill yourself. And that way but hire people that you can trust and will do the job right. Don't just hire any schmuck.
That's the problem. As I'm sure you know.
Oh, yeah. And then we can see about you coming up here for some cons, because we got some big things planned for 2023, as I hinted at before. Before we go look too far ahead, though, we do have a guest announcement for next week. We are really excited to welcome this talented voice actress back. It's been a little bit since we had her on the show, but we are welcoming back Emmy Lowe. Is going to be our holiday guest next Sunday here on Anime-Zing Radio, our last show of 2022. It's crazy to think that this year has flown by. And in our list of ABC, Russ says D, and save money on switching to Geico.
And Ross, to answer your question, Konako blows Kuno out of the water.
And Ross's question was a tight spot question for Darren. Sorry for putting you through the ringer, but who's better, Konako or Fox Shrine Girl from DxD? I agree, Konako.
Look, I like her. I like Kuno. Don't get me wrong. She was the basis for Senko. I don't care what anyone says. I feel that design was stolen.
Maybe a little bit.
But anyway.
I think Senko's a better girl than Kuno, though.
Well, you got to see more of Senko, so of course.
True. Both of them were adorable Fox characters, so.
Well, and don't forget Kuno's mom, which was the whole reason they were there in the first place.
Kuno's mom gave more than enough power to Issei. I'll just put it that way.
Yep.
We'll leave it at that.
But Kuno has more fluff. Fluff isn't everything.
That all depends on who you ask. If you talk to Aaron Campbell, Floofy Floof might be more than enough.
Very true.
And I laugh because I know before the show started, Ines was on the couch behind me. I looked back and he's not there anymore. It's like, where'd you go?
Strange. They're never around when you need them.
In a weird way, I hope that Emmy Lowe can show off Noctis next week when she joins us. For those who don't know, Emmy has a cat named Noctis that is a gray fluff ball who could rival Ines in floofiness. So I think it would be fun to, for me to hold up Ines and her to hold up Noctis and have a fluff off between the two cats. And Darren is rolling his eyes in disgust right now.
Not really. Because don't forget, I had a cat too, but she wasn't fluffy at all.
Yeah.
She was, well, you've seen her.
Yeah. She's more like Haru.
Yes. Well, yes.
But, it's a 2022, like I said, has been a fun and crazy year. I never thought at the start of the year that we would have hit 13 cons. And if I break it down, I had table at 5, press at 4, and just attended 4. And two of the cons that were just attended were not planned. And if I'm being honest, one of the presses was not really planned very well either. And for that reason, unfortunately, I am so sorry to those of you who have been waiting for our Colossal Con East videos and stuff. The files somehow ended up being corrupted in the camera, and we have not been able to figure out how to retrieve them. So sadly, that is what the holdup is on the interviews and the coverage that we got. And that includes recording the Masquerade and everything, which there was a lot of great talent in the Masquerade. I'm really, really sad that we lost some of the footage from that. There was a idol group there that won, I think, best overall performance. That it was like 4 or 5 girls that were a part of this, and their routine was flawless. And when I say flawless, our camera angle was different from the main camera angle. And when they lined up from the angle we were at, they were in a perfectly straight line. But when you looked at it head on with the actual camera, the 5 girls were standing basically separated, so you could see all 5 girls individually, but lined up, they kind of looked straight like this with one off in front. But when it was sideways, they were basically, you could see all 5 of them, and like their spacing, everything was great. And Ross says he has his own floofy floof. His name is Tucker, and he's a multi-poo and Maltese poodle. And I'm not sure, HH, what you mean by Emmy Lou Holmes. But as we mentioned before, lots of good shows came out this year. Banished from the Heroes Party was fun. Even looking back to the winter season, I was hooked on Realist Hero. That right there might have been one of my most underrated shows of 2022.
About to say, you watched Realist Hero and I watched Genius Prince.
I watched them both.
Similar premises, but totally different.
I watched both because, as you mentioned before earlier this year when they were both coming out, some people thought Genius Prince might have been a sad knockoff of Realist Hero, but it really was 2 completely different concepts that were coming out about a similar overall concept.
Mm-hmm.
Also, She Professed Herself Pupil of the Wise Man was really good. Saw little to no love from what I saw.
That one I had mixed feelings about.
In the springtime, we saw, as we mentioned, you had Spy Family that came out that took the world by storm.
Mm-hmm. Still
Uh,
one of the better shonen titles to hit the airwaves lately.
a couple of Cuckoos was good. I'm Quitting Heroing was a lot better than I gave it credit for. I wasn't expecting much, but really enjoyed it. Data Live Season 4, a lot of us were excited for, but we didn't. We kind of, I almost felt let down a little bit. Maybe I hyped up too much and it was like, I just did not really stick with me like I thought it was gonna. Of course, 2022 saw the continuation of a lot of idol-based animes, including more Love Live, with Love Live Nikijasaki High School Season 2 came out in the spring season. Um, in summer, you saw a couple of shows that came out, including basically Strike Witch's idol anime. You also had Shine Post, which came out. Love Live Superstar came out with Season 2. In fact, I'm looking through. Was all that in the same season? Yeah. Shine Post, League of Nations Air Force Aviation Music Band, Luminous, or as I call them, Strike, which is the idol anime. Uh, and then Love Live Superstar Season 2 all came out in summer. And actually, all three of them were really good. If I had to pick one of the three that I thought was the best, no surprise to anybody, Shine Post. But uh, Rebuilt Kingdom didn't start in 2022. It started 2021, but they had like part 2 of season 1 started in winter. So it had like the second 12 episode block came out early this year. And
Um,
Devil is a part-timer. I don't know if it was just too long in between that it didn't really suck me into the storyline. The kid was kind of a weird addition.
mm-hmm. And John, no offense, but we're gonna forget about My Hero.
My Hero is not, and I have said this before, My Hero is not a bad series. I just feel it is very overrated. It is a very popular shonen series, but I put it in the same category as a type of shows as Demon Slayer is going to become, Fairy Tail has been, and Attack on Titan currently is. Running too long. I
To make My Hero good, I say we focus only on the villains. I'm sorry.
and I know everybody says I need to watch the villain arc. I might break down and do that once I get past all the other shows that I want to watch in front of
So in other words, never.
that. Much like all of us out there, we have a anime watch list that is forever growing and will never be caught up.
I feel bad Angela isn't here to comment right now because she'd be ripping into both of us for that.
Well, she would understand our point of view, but she would still be supporting My Hero. Like I said, I've never called My Hero Academia a bad anime. I just said it's very overrated for what it is. Which a lot of people can agree with that.
True.
And at
To
the
me,
same point in time, there is no, all fan bases are toxic, especially when you get into the anime world. It may not be a certain individual, but as a collective group, they can be very toxic when it comes to defending the shows that they love.
Mm-hmm.
And Ross has a great question out there, Darren. What is the one series we can all agree we are looking forward to next year?
Hold on. And yes, slime is one of them.
I
Jobless
don't
jobless reincarnation too.
I don't know if I never watched part 2 of Slime.
You're missing out.
I did not watch part 2 of season 2 of Slime. Much like you, I did not watch part 2 of or season 2 of a few of the shows, including Zombieland Saga and stuff like that. And then, of course, we have coming out in winter of next year. Nagatoro season 2 is coming out. Fury season 2 is coming out.
Vinland Saga.
Vinland Saga. Is it wrong to pick up Girls in a Dungeon for part 2 by the Grace of God season 2, which I will be watching.
Misfit of Demon King Academy.
Which I never finished the first season. I did start it, but I never finished it. Fruit of Evolution season 2.
Probably the three new ones I'm looking forward to is Tomo-chan as a girl, The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, and Spy Academy. No, Spy Classroom, excuse me.
You mean you're not looking into Onimai, I'm Now Your Sister?
That one too.
I don't even know how to feel about a show like that.
Let's see. Let's see what else looks good. Bungo Stray Dogs is continuing. I heard excellent things about the series, but never. I mean, it's gotten a fourth season, so it must be at least somewhat decent. And Ross is saying Oni Mai should be burned.
For those who don't know, I was reading the synopsis a little bit. Onimai is a story of a dude who loves eroge video games. His mad scientist little sister gets him to be a part of an experiment that ends up turning him into a girl. Darren's dream show.
No, but I may still watch it. Now what about
if he turned into a bunny girl, then it would be your dream show.
I think you mean you're gonna be watching My Life as Inukai-san's Dog.
What? I don't even know that one.
The story follows the protagonist who wakes up one day transformed as Pochita, a pet dog of his cool and beautiful classmate, Karen Inukai.
Oh, there it is. My Life as Inukai-san's Dog. Interesting.
So basically, it sounds like you're going to be Haruna Sairanji's dog, who is one of a kind.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Another isekai farming anime. Farming life in another world. The isekai trend continues of ridiculousness. The reincarnation of the strongest exorcist in another world. Handyman Saito in another world. So the isekai genre is not dead, it's still alive and going well. The magical revolution of the reincarnated princess.
Chilling in my 30s after getting fired from the Demon King's army.
And that's all just winter. That doesn't even talk about spring.
And then
Ross said,
Apparently, go ahead.
I was gonna say Ross in the chat says Ice Blade Sorcerer should rule the world. Looks good.
Here's one anime that's putting me off because of one of the characters displayed on the image. Apparently, disillusioned adventurers will save the world. All because of the witch. That whole scene, that whole image throws me off. Because it reminds me of a certain witch.
Which show was it?
Let's see. Ningen Fushin no
Oh, I see it.
Bokensha tachi de sekai wo sukuyo desu.
Okay.
Anyway, but see the witch I'm talking about?
Yes.
It reminds me of a certain witch that I don't want to remember.
It's not our fault that he had the hots for the main character. And HH says that he's getting sick of the farming ones, same with the foodie ones. Hate entire chapters about just eating. Those are some of those slice of life isekai shows. Like, I find myself watching them just for the sake of the entertainment factor. I'm not expecting them to be good. And usually I'm right.
They're
I think
mindless entertainment.
but it's mindless entertainment to help you escape what may have been a very crappy day, very crappy work week, or whatever. Which I think a lot of us can relate to, just watching something for the sake of watching something, not expecting anything out of it. And sometimes it sticks and sometimes it doesn't.
Oh, come on. They even have a judo anime? Where is my bowling anime?
And Ross says, I watched a trailer of that Disillusioned. It's 2 girls and 2 guys in the party. You're safe.
Still,
Still, it reminds him of a character he would much rather forget. And what was the name of that show?
Demon Lord retry.
That's right.
About to say, how could you forget one of your favorite shows?
Isn't that getting a season 2 too?
I think so. I don't remember. But speaking of season twos, spring is loaded with sequels.
Oh, it is. But for those of you who are curious about which character that Darren was referring to, this is them. That is the witch character in which Darren does not want to remember.
Nope, not at all.
I mean, look at the character. Aren't they cute?
No, he is not.
We won't torment Darren with that anymore.
Aw, well, oh well.
And HH says that, well, technically, I returned from another world is slice of life. And he heard that they canceled the second season on that, I think referring to Demon Lord Retry.
Huh. Canceled.
I don't know.
Mario.
I was hoping for more Hop and Bunny, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the spring season 2023 has some great shows coming out as well. including Konosuba, an explosion on this wonderful world, which I believe that's one that focuses more on Megaman. And of course, Kuma Bear Season 2 coming out. Kuma Bear Punch. In Another World with My Smartphone Season 2. Maybe you finally get to meet the rest of his wives.
Masamune-kun, The Ancient Magus Bride, Dr. Stone.
I'm excited about The Ancient Magus' Bride getting another season.
And look, even a golf anime gets a second season. Golf.
I still would like to see him make a disc golf anime and you on a bowling anime. Give it time. I mean, they have horse racing.
Oh, yes. Uma Musume is getting more episodes. I mean, that was a good let's see. No, not schedule. I love how they have up to spring 2023 and they no longer have the list of beyond that. Because one show, season 2, that I am waiting for is Tonikawa. I need my wholesome romance. The OVA.
Tonikawa is coming.
Speaking of which, did you ever watch the 2 OVAs I sent you?
I don't think I had a chance to watch them.
It'll make you fall in love with the characters even more, and probably Leanne want to. Was she yawning or raging or bored or what?
Bored.
Yeah, it'll probably bore her to death.
It just bored her. She not intrigued at all. And hello, Tricia. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And
Dead Mount Death. And Ross, to be honest, Sugar Happy Fairy Tree. Let's see, or is it Sugar Apple? Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. Sounds too much like Happy Sugar Life. And if anyone's seen Happy Sugar Life, you know how that was totally not the case.
And Ross says Darren got his wish granted in spring, called Saint Cecilia and the Pastor Lawrence.
Let me look at that one. Excuse me. Nope. Here's one for you, Doug.
Uh-oh.
Oshi no Ko. Read the synopsis on it.
Is that winter?
No, spring.
Spring?
Mm-hmm.
Oshinoko.
Uh-huh.
16-year-old Ai Hoshino is a talented and beautiful idol who is adored by her fans. She is the personification of a pure young maiden. But all that glitters is not gold. Goro Namaya is a countryside gynecologist and a big fan of Ai, so when the pregnant idol shows up at his hospital, he is beyond bewildered. Goro promises her a safe delivery, but is delivery. Little does he know, an encounter with a mysterious figure would result in his untimely death, or so he thought. Opening his eyes in the lap of his beloved idol, Goro finds that he has been reborn as Aquamarine Hoshino, Ai's newborn son, with his world turned upside. What the hell? With his world turned upside down, Goro learns that the world of showbiz is paved with thorns, where talent does not always beget success. Will he manage to protect Ai's smile that he loves so much with the help of an eccentric and unexpected ally? Um, what? What? I I don't know.
Because why not?
And sadly, Angela will not be joining us tonight. I just checked to see how things were going. She literally just got home and is exhausted from driving in crappy weather. For those of you who have not who missed the start of the show, it's been snowing up here and it was snowing down in Massachusetts, and she had a family dinner tonight. Due to the snow and wind blowing and things, I know from experience driving in snow and wind, especially at night, sucks. So it probably has taken a lot out of her. So sadly, we will not have Angela with us tonight. Hopefully next Sunday she'll be able to join us for the last show of the year. Again, we are excited. Next week we're going to be joined by Emmy Lowe, a very talented voice actress from Crunchyroll. Worked on many incredible titles, including Show by Rock Mashima Resh, which is pictured behind our screens here. Sadly, though, her character is the one that you don't get to see her head because it's behind me. You just get to see her arms. She voices Delmine, a fun little blue-haired Spitfire girl who can shoot a beam out of her horns. Emmy is also a very talented pianist. She has streamed on her channel. I believe it was on her YouTube channel. She has streamed herself playing piano and avid cosplayer. So it'll be a lot of fun having her on the show and chatting with her about the successes that she's seen in 2022 and just how crazy things have gotten. So, looking back on this year, we have seen a lot of craziness, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of fun guests, different experiences. I know, we had a lot, like I said, we had a lot of first-time voice acting guests. Going back through the list here, I want to take a moment to just throw a shout out to every guest that we had on the show. Going all the way back, starting in January with cosplayer Lady Maloney. Thank you to Rusty Gilligan, Jason Moulton, Sean Hainsworth, Brianna Roberts, Danny Chambers, Julili the Idol, Aaron Campbell, Jeff Fulb, of course, Bang Zoom Entertainment's own Eric Sherman and Mami Okada, Lindsay Shepard and Anthony Bowling, Jennifer Perez from PucciCon, Devira Kai from Big Bucks Entertainment, HB Comics, Jay Moore's Nerd Caliber, Christy Rothrock with co-hosted by Tanya Firestein, at Rail City Fan Fest, where we did some live streaming from the conventions this year. That was also new and a lot of fun to do. Natalie from the Storyteller Squad, Josie McCoy, Michael Ordway from the Transformers podcast, Ken Irons, who photographer and cosplayer and all around awesome guy who works with conventions we've known for years. It was great having him on. Mikey, who won the PucciCon Masquerade down in New Jersey. Of course, Ari Lynn had joined us. Scree Cosplay, Griffin Burns and Kaya Tanu. Dan Flanders, it was fun having him back on the show. Colin Harvey from Anime-Zing, Sean Chiplock, Kelly Baskin, Kira Meku Melody, and of course, next week we're expected to have Emmy Lowe. So thank you to everybody who joined us this year. The shows have just kept getting better and better. The guests have kept getting more and more amazing and so much fun to talk to. I know this year, Darren, we've learned a lot about the anime industry. We've learned a lot about cosplay. so much stuff has happened.
Indeed.
And as I touched on briefly there, something else new that we did this year, tabling at conventions opened up live streaming from cons. Granted, I learned the hard way that live streaming 12 hours in 2 days from a table, especially 6 hours when you're by yourself, is a lot of work. It takes a lot more out of you than you think.
Hmm.
Trying to keep things interesting enough for the engagement with the fans tuning in. The addition of a monitor that points outward so that the attendees walking by can see themselves. They can see your comments, interact with the chat. Really was something that a lot of people were drawn to. The kids loved it, especially. I know, Darren. We tried bringing you in for a couple of the live streams when you could make it. We tried with Angela as well, but at the time she was at Colossal Con East, and the reception there was terrible, and her phone would not hook up with her Bluetooth and StreamYard, so things weren't working well there. So we had some problems along the way, but it was so much fun to be able to showcase these cons. And then we even, big thank you to PucciCon again. We had our first ever live show from a convention, which had to have been a little bit weird for you, Darren, knowing that we were in front of an audience for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing it wasn't a big live audience, but it was a live audience, and we had guests who were at the table with us. A couple of amazing cosplayers who were winners at the masquerade at PucciCon in Pennsylvania. Both young ladies had won awards, and it was kind of neat to get to see that side of things. And something I want to do more in 2023. I want to try to do another live show from a con. Now, which ones and when? I don't know. It all depends. I've got to keep an eye on when panel uh, applications open up, and also got to keep an eye on, who has good internet service, things of that nature. Um, can we hook up with the laptop and be able to record and get everything set up like we were able to at PucciCon? We also, for the first time, I did live panels talking about podcasting. Got to meet a lot of amazing people. Some great questions from people in the audience, which I'm hoping in 2023 I'm able to bring Darren and or Angela to cons to be up there with me so that the fans can get a chance to know all of us here with Anime-Zing Radio. I mean, you get to see us a little. You can see us a couple hours, hear some of our thoughts, opinions, life experiences, the randomness and joking around we do. But sometimes it's really cool just to be able to sit down and talk with the fans and get to know more about you guys who tune into us, or even the people interested in starting their own podcasts who might have questions. Now, what do you think, Darren? Would you be comfortable sitting up at a table asking questions in a panel format?
It would definitely be an experience, but one I'm definitely down to experience.
We just got to get you here.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
And HH says, I want Darren's face reveal to be in cosplay.
I've had my face on before, but it wasn't for very long.
And I think I know the cosplay that they want you to be wearing, Darren.
Krim? No.
No, I'm holding it up.
Oh, that one?
I mean, you are Nico Darren.
Mm-hmm.
I'm beyond the Krim jokes. Now it's all Nico jokes. Or we could just have you dress up as Bunny Girl Senpai.
I'd do Sakata. I would.
Or the Bunny Girl from Problem Children.
Black Rabbit?
Yeah.
Nah, I'd rather do Easy On. Now, Izuyoi actually is on my list of cosplays that I would do. Between him and Kumagawa, as you see pretty much every single show, with
Yep.
all these lovely paintbrushes stuck in him.
But what about your favorite isekai trap?
Isekai trap. Isekai trap. Hmm. I don't have a favorite isekai trap. Felix is not mine.
Felix is. Oh, you also had your favorite witch trap too.
No, we don't do those either.
Or you could just cosplay from Conception.
Now you're just, yeah. I'll cosplay as the damn fox
The
or
red panda.
Tanuki or yes, the red panda, whatever the hell she was.
I figured you would have been the schoolboy there. That whole show was just a mistake. And the fact that the
Mhm.
video game has multiple variations of it is like, why? I hope the video game is better than the anime was. That's all I'm saying. Ross says, or you could dress up as your favorite Nico Koniko.
Nico or Neko?
Neko.
Mm,
Koneko.
she's not my favorite cat girl of all time, but she's dang close.
And just think, you wouldn't have, much like some of the female characters that I've looked at cross playing, you wouldn't have to worry about any added figure.
Very, very true.
Or you could be the high school DxD trap,
Gasper?
Gasper.
Hmm. Nah. I'd rather be Kiba at that point. Or Saji. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for a design for a couple of characters. I want to see the evil dragons.
Ross wants to know who your favorite Neko is. Is it Aries from Cat Planet Cuties?
Aries is adorable. Not gonna lie.
But she was adorable, but she wasn't even my favorite cat girl from the series. I like, was her name Chakra, the one that Charmy Lee voices? I don't, I don't remember now. It's been so long since I've seen that show. And talking about a long time since seeing shows, going through Instagram the other day, Monica Rial had a video post up going back to Panty and Stocking when her character Stocking was going on a diet. And she had that little contraption around her stomach.
I never did watch Panty and Stocking.
Oh man, you're missing out. Any any show that in English they can clip out one word or one different way of saying said word from a 12 episode series, and the video clip is over 3.5 minutes long for this one word. And I'm sure you know which word I'm referring to.
Oh, I do.
We'll just say it begins with an F.
Nah, it's technically an M followed by an F.
Well, no, they have clips of just the F word.
Oh.
But yes, repent F is in there. But you don't realize how many times they swear in that show until they make a montage, and you're like, Jesus.
Well, I have to say, it's just like you don't realize how many times Yudachi says poi in Contact Collection, or how many times, let's see, what was the other one? Oh yeah,
Like
Irregular Magic
Gates
High
of
School
Smash.
sister says Oni-chan, 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 Oni-chan. Take a shot every time she says Oni-chan. I think one of the YouTubers actually did that one time, and it did not end well.
HH is asking, have we had Ian Sinclair on the show? Yes, many years ago. In fact, I think he was on in our hazy radio days. I'm trying to think back because we've had so many amazingly talented voice actors on the show. I know Ian has been on the show, but like I said, I think it's going way, way back. In fact, if I pull out my, and I still have it, the weekly planner from 2014 when the show started. Back then, I was doing 3 radio shows a week. So I have to go back and see Eric Vale, No Show, Triel, Jim Taylor, Bryn April, Emily Druid, Ian Sinclair, July 20th, 2014. Yes, that's how Ian Sinclair, that's how I remember him so well. I think he had been drinking during the show, and in an hour-long interview, he referenced Space Dandy probably 100 times. Now, this was back before Darren was co-host. I think you were just one of our loyal listeners at the time.
Yeah, Ross took my job of distracting y'all.
Yeah, because now he's distracting you too. Because I moved you from the distracting point into co-hosting. But I think we have a good team, Ross. I'm not looking to add anybody to the team just yet. and it's been some interesting experiences, not just 2022, but throughout the years of the show. Because first time we had Eric Vale on the show, it was his birthday, and he was cooking on the grill. Of course, we have the ever infamous and probably most popular show, the Christmas special with Anthony Bowling and Jeremy Inman, that apparently Jeremy is so proud of, he tells everybody about it. And the reason I know this is because we met Jeremy at Kineticon last year in 2021, and he was there with his girlfriend. And when I introduced myself, he goes, "Oh, remember that podcast I told you about that we were doing during the Christmas party? I brought all these other voice actors on. This is the guy." It's like, so he tells everybody. He was proud of that. That was one of the coolest moments in AZR history.
Well, I have to say, we're very well. Apparently, we have made a name for ourselves down at Funimation and several other studios. So, yes.
Yeah, and hopefully it's all good stuff. We have a lot of respect and admiration for the talent of Funimation, Crunchyroll, High Dive, all the recording studios out there. And we try to showcase that when we bring the voice talent on. And of course, we would love to bring on people from behind the scenes, which is why it was a lot of fun to talk with Eric Sherman and learn more about Bang Zoom as a company, not just the voice actor side of things. Mami Okado is great to talk to about how they, figure out who's going to be best for casting in certain shows and some of the work that she does. So being able to educate our fans more on the side of anime that that to most people is a mystery. We just know we either stream it, watch it on TV, High Dive, Hulu, Crunchyroll, Netflix, wherever, and you just enjoy the shows. Now, I look back growing up now, and I used to just watch cartoons and think that's what those characters sounded like. I didn't know anything about voice acting or, go back to Di- Disney cartoons with Donald Duck, Daffy Duck, or Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse and Goofy. I never thought about people in a booth bringing these characters to life. To me, that's those voices were those characters. So getting a better understanding about that side of things, it was really, really cool to see. And Ross has one last question before we end. You ready for this, Darren?
Nope.
How does everybody feel when Kodansha Manga Company Anime is bought by Disney?
Kodansha was bought by Disney. Ah, Lord. Well, there goes Kodansha.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Disney. I'm sorry, but Disney does not need to put their hand in everything, but apparently they do.
Well, funny story. You know that the creator of Astro Boy and Disney himself went back and forth for many, many years. They actually had a little bit of a rivalry going on.
Interesting. I did not know
Because,
that.
I mean, heck, don't forget, The Lion King was stolen from Kimba the White Lion in Japan.
And Ross says because season 2 of Tokyo Revengers will be on Disney Plus.
Yes, one of my employees was telling me about that earlier today. No, yesterday.
I don't know how I feel about anime on Disney.
No. No. I would feel better with anime staying in the hands of Cartoon Network or something, even though they're just a streaming platform.
You would rather see Cartoon Network produce their own anime than Disney.
Pretty much. Because at least Cartoon Network had something going in the 90s. And plus, they actually did air quote unquote anime in the form of Pokemon.
And HH says that's why pirating is still a thing. Because Disney wants to get their hand on it. Now, knowing that Disney is getting their hands into the world of anime, that's going to be something that's very challenging for artists. Because now artists who draw anime characters are going to have to pay attention to which titles get licensed by Disney. Because you are not allowed, unless you have permission from Disney, to draw and make an income off of characters owned by Disney. And they have plenty of people who go around to conventions, and if they find artists selling Disney merchandise that aren't authorized to do so, they're asked to remove it or they're thrown out of the convention.
Yep. Probably the most famous example of Disney being like that is there was a guy who had his car done up to look exactly like Lightning McQueen, and Disney threw a fit.
So that's going to be something that's going to be interesting. Something we talk about in a future show. And I know there's another war in the artistry world that we could touch on maybe a little bit next week or in a future show. But we are out of time. So once again, we want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We've had a lot of fun looking back at 2022, the craziness that was this year, the stuff we learned. Thank you to everybody who was along for the ride all year long. And thank you to those of you who joined us at any point throughout this year. We love to see the growth. We really thank everybody, whether you watch us live here Sunday nights on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, or if you listen to us after the fact on podcast streaming sites. We really appreciate all of you who tune in. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Home Circle Media and Casey Fox, for being a part of the AZR family and supporting us from the beginning. And we are looking forward to see where this road will take us. Our journey is definitely not over. We're going to be continuing. 2023 is going to be a crazy year. I'm hoping to table at more cons. And I've one thing I have learned this year, Darren, I cannot attend a con as an attendee anymore. It's impossible for me to go to a convention and not work AZR in some way, shape, or form. But once again, join us next week when we have our holiday special and we welcome Emmy Lowe to the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be great chatting with her. Until next week, I hope everybody stays safe out there. Have a safe and happy holiday season as well if you do traveling. And we will see you again right here next Sunday for more Anime-Zing Radio on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
As the journey continues.